Let's see if everyone is there. Yeah, okay, we can start. Welcome to another episode here from the off-grid garage in sunny hot Australia. We had 68 amps outside today, very sunny, and we are on 85% already at 2 p.m. Nothing more we can ask for, right? Guys, we have beginning of January 2022, and thank you so much for all your comments on my last couple of videos in regards to the battery shelf here, which is now in place. And I received some comments, people were questioning why I use 35mm cable here if I have only a 10 amp breaker and a 2.5mm on the output here. Well, I have mentioned this before in some of my videos. I don't know if I keep this breaker in this solution here. Maybe this will be a 63 amp breaker at some stage. And if I upgrade the breaker, I don't need to upgrade the cables. This can all stay as it is. I just need to upgrade the breaker to a larger one and can reuse the existing cables. So this saves me mucking around with the cabling and the bus bars later on down the track. I know it looks a bit excessive at the moment, but well, this is the only reason I went for the 35mm cable for even the 10 amp breaker. Yeah, as I also said, it is consistent then. So we have 35mm all through, regardless what kind of breaker we have. 35mm, done. And some other comments mentioned, why have I not put the negative here on the underside of the bus bar, which would then eliminate the bend here. Well, as you may remember, we have a threaded bus bar. So I would then need to get this screw underneath, which is just possible. But there's no way for me to torque this one anymore then with my torque wrench. I mean, I could potentially do that. I could put all the negatives on the underside of the bus bar, and then they go straight from there underneath the positive to the switchboards here at the front, but I wouldn't be able to torque them. Is that important? Potentially not. If I use a normal ring spanner and tighten them, that could be enough. So that could be a potential solution for my bending, but at the moment I don't see a big problem, so I'll leave it as it is for the moment. Maybe for all the other future connections I consider having the negative on the underside of the bus bar. That could be a potential solution. It just fits. It just fits. And also, yes, the Meanwell DC converter and the Victron DC converter, they are both isolated. So there's no physical connection between input and output. In case of a fault or something, you won't have any negative or positive of your 48 volt on the output terminals of these converters. And then quite a few people have commented about the 10-meter cable I want to pull here, the 5 volt cable supply for our Wi-Fi bridge. I'm really considering the PoE option at the moment. It might be the better option because I have the network cable already there. So I don't need to install any additional wires for that. I can just use the Cat5 cable and use a PoE injection over here, 12 volt or even 48 volt, and then on the other side as well, and get my 5 volt out of a PoE converter on the other side. So this could be an option, I don't know yet. I haven't really thought about all this yet. And then I think it was Marta who actually suggested to use some foam or even a pool noodle or something underneath these gaps here to seal them up instead of silicone. And I quite like this idea actually. I have plenty of this foam left over here. This is from the battery deliveries. I've got boxes full of this foam, you know. I can just cut this in these stripes here and then yeah, put the shelf on top of this foam, and this will actually push it in, and then there should be no gap anymore for insects to come in. So I could do this over here and this gap, and on the other side on this gap. See, there are already some spider webs here. The back side is fairly tight to the concrete floor, but still there are enough gaps for insects to come in. I probably consider they are this really thin material, and I even am going to try to split it. But this could be a possible solution. I definitely give this a go. But in today's video, we want to do one of the final and major and most important stuff ever. We want to connect our earth cable to our shelf. And because we have metal all around, separate metal sheets, we have to earth or ground them. We have to earth or ground all of them separately. I have read regulations here in Australia, and there is the possibility to use a star washer in between your metal sheet from the outside and your metal frame, which is grounded. But I could not find any information under what circumstances you can use this method. And from what I know, from what I learned, is you need to have a separate earth. If we have 4 panels here at the front, we need 4 separate earth cables to each of these panels. Because these mounting screws, they are not a valid grounding or earth connection to the frame. And we also need to drill these holes here to hold the actual shelf to the frame of the garage here. So, and I was going to crimp this ring lock on the ground cable. Use a yellow or green heat shrink, otherwise people give me a hard time. And then we use a short M6 screw and a star washer. And the star washer actually goes in between the ring lock and our panels. So I've tapped all the panels now with M6. Okay, yeah, so this is how it will look like from the inside then. That's the plan. Yeah, see this hole there? Well, this is a fuck up hole again. This doesn't work down there. Because we've got the bottom beam here, the horizontal beam of the garage here as well. And this is exactly in this location. And further up, here's this cross beam starting of the shelf. And further down, there's the horizontal beam of the shelf. So I've got only this area there where I can drill through, and this is exactly where the beam is. So I now went one level further up and drilled a hole over here, because there's nothing at the back, and we can have our earth or ground bolt here in this location. Yep, that's how it looks like from the outside. Then it will just stick out like this, and we'll have a ring lock here with a 6mm cable then going from this central ground bolt all the way in the rail up to this guy up there, and that's where we connect it to the main ground bar. Well, sometimes you only realize once you have drilled the hole that it doesn't fit. So there's a tiny hole. I'll put some silicone in there so nothing crawls in. Okay, so the first cable to the top front panel goes through here and all the way here. I need my hand there, and now it will go in the same split loom all the way to the front where the hole is up there. Yep, there's the little hole, and this is where the screw goes now. There we go. Split loom is always clean, right? Is always clean. You can just add cables and it looks still nice and tidy. So first one done. Oh, there you go. First one done. So we have now connected all our ground cables here to the main ground point in the shelf, and the bolt, there you can see it, there it is, sticks out at the back, and this is where we connect our main ground cable to the main ground point in the garage here. And these are for the single panels at the front here. There's also one ground cable going to the roof panel, and I've used, of course, the existing loom here to hide this additional cable here. And now I'll take some split loom as well here to organize all these cables, clean this all up, make it look nice and tidy. I got it. One last snip. Come on. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. It's done. That was painful to get this split loom underneath there. But it's not done. It's all clean and tidy. Split loom there, 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 all the way up there. This is our main ground point of the shelf. Split loom up there and up there. Everything is loomed. It is so warm. Did you like my wooden security block here? Just in case the shelf comes back, it hits this wooden block and doesn't go any further. So it stays actually on this angle just by itself. But now we are done. We can move it back. Yeah, nice. It concludes the grounding part of the whole shelf, and we just need to attach here our main ground later on before we put this shelf in place here. When we have to put it back anyway, I need to mark and drill these holes into this horizontal beam here. I've got close to sunset. Still mucking around with this shelf here. Look at this construction. So I can actually tuck this foam under the rear panel here. I use these very narrow stripes here of foam now, and just cut them carefully in halfway. So I've got this little split now in between. Good morning, my friends, and welcome back from the video yesterday. Yeah, I stopped working at about 6:30 p.m. or something with this situation here. So I've still got the shelf on a lean here and have put all the foam around it, but I need to do this side here, but I can't really reach this side anymore because of the metal vertical beam there. So I need to find another solution to get underneath and get this foam under the side panel. I have actually secured the shelf here with screws, so I wasn't quite sure if the wooden supports here are able to push out the shelf. Okay, that was actually very easy. Okay, next step would be to drill these holes in the horizontal support beam there, and then we can lean it back into its original position. That looks really scary. So one last check here, because with the foam attached I cannot really move the shelf anymore. So that's why I have leaned it forward to get the foam underneath, and now I just lean it back and it should stand on the foam now, and hopefully everything is insect tight. Well, if it doesn't work out or something, I always can remove it and put some silicone later on in it. But for now I'll try it with the foam. Everything seems to be fine so far. Okay, let's put it back and hope the holes lining up, and we can bolt it to the wall, and that'll be the last time we are moving this shelf. That's in theory. Okay, here it goes. Okay, so far so good. Well, actually it's not good. The shelf is not yeah, this was my suspicion with the foam underneath. Well, even the shelf is very, very heavy and compresses the foam. There is still foam underneath now, and the shelf is really wobbly at the moment, and it's not leaning back all the way as it did before. and I haven't actually moved the shelf at all. See, there's a few millimeter gap, and I think this is because of the foam. If I slide the shelf back now, it will come off the foam. So I probably need to lift the whole shelf and then move it back just these few millimeters, but this is impossible. That's just not going to happen. Maybe I can build something with this timber here. Let me try something. Okay, let's see if this works. I'm pushing down on here. Yep, I can lift it up. It is all the way in already. It is still not leaning at the back beam. And I think this is due to the foam underneath at the back, because at the back it was very close to the concrete. It was actually touching the concrete perfectly. But now there's foam in between, and the whole shelf is leaning forward just a tiny bit now, because there's still foam in between the back panel and the concrete now. So we are a bit on an angle now. It's just a tiny bit, but that is enough. So the shelf actually leans forward here just a few millimeters, and I cannot push it further back because now it's touching the bottom beam here already. I think this means we cannot use this foam solution. I need to take the foam off again and use silicone after all. Damn it, it was such a good idea. Okay, we tried. Yeah, so I removed all the foam now, and the shelf straight away sits flush to the on this side as well. No movement anymore. You wouldn't think this makes a big difference, right? I mean, but obviously it's not compressing to zero. And I can see my hole is lining up again, which wasn't perfect before either. That makes a big difference to have foam underneath. Unbelievable. Okay, we go for the silicone solution. And I'm just doing another connection here on our 12-volt fuse block. I have made another installation here. This is a 12-volt outlet port. It looks like this just. And it fits these normal, I don't know how they are called actually here, these 2.5 millimeter jacks, and this will be the supply for our network router here, because this one runs on 12 volt and is very close. So I thought, why not just use a 12 volt cable and connect it down here directly to our DC converter. And of course we are using a separate circuit here on our fuse block, and this is what this connection is for. And again, this split loom saves the day. I just can put this additional cable inside and everything is neat, clean and tidy and organized. I like it. I like these very much. I think I said this before, right? Perfect. Okay, so the shelf is now bolted to the beam here, and it is one with a garage. Of course, I have forgotten to connect the ground cable on the back of the shelf. So I had to undo these screws again, tip the shelf over, and now I have connected a 4 millimeter cable with ring lock to the bolt we have prepared on the back side of the shelf. And this cable, oh, you can hardly see it, this cable is in a split loom as well now, and it is now glued into this bottom support here all the way, and then connected to our main ground panel here in the garage. So we are officially grounded now. Okay guys, before I let you go, I just want to quickly talk about the lid. I had several suggestions, ideas about what to do with the lid, from hinges to double hinges to sliding door arrangements. I want to show you something. This is the This is the top panel of our roof. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Look at this. How perfect this fits. And if you have a look at this, there's no way to have a hinge there in any direction. I could have a hinge at the long side, so it flips to the back and then we have got access to the front. But I'm not sure about this space. I don't want to waste this space here. We may end up having another inverter here, one or even two inverters here eventually. So I don't want to actually sacrifice any of this space above here. Wall space is very, very precious here in the garage. Well, and this sliding door idea with some kind of U-shape profiles here and the whole panel slides in and out. Yeah, but look, this is perfect. This is perfect. If I have a profile here in the corners, we will lift the whole panel up again. So I need to build something here, a support for the actual roof panel then. And I have to build something with these U-shaped profiles as well. This is all a bit too much because, well, eventually the lid will be on the shelf here and we don't need to access it every single day, you know. Maybe every second day, but not every single day. So, and because we've got this wide support here from the shelf and on this side as well, I was actually just going to screw the top panel into this profile here, into this metal profile. 2 screws here, 2 screws there, done. And I probably have some foam or something here at the front as well to make it really tight for insects and everything, and at the back as well. But then I can just take off the whole panel altogether, and it's not in any way. It is just gone. There will be no roof, no lid, no top panel at all. We will have full access. We will have full access to the bus bars inside here, to all the cabling then. So this is probably the easiest, the quickest, and potentially the best solution. Let me know what you think about this. But so it would be a similar approach as all the other covers are here. We have screws. We have to remove the screws to get access to the compartment. The same will be here for the top panel as well. This is my thinking at the moment. This is the quickest, easiest, cleanest solution I can see at the moment. As always, thank you so much for all your support here. Thanks for all your donations. Thank you for all your hundreds of comments under my last videos. I really appreciate every single one of that. And until the next video, when we do... well, I think all the mechanical work is now done. And we potentially can start putting something together here inside one of the shelves. I'm not 100% sure how to proceed with all this, but we talk about this in the next video. Until then, guys, you stay charged. And thank you so much for watching again. See you then. Bye-bye.